There's a very pretty song that actually until just a few days ago I didn't even know existed, and it fell to one of my loyal students, Emma, to bring it to my attention, so thank you, Emma. At heart it's very simple, almost weird maybe, but it's quite layered and the overall effect is lovely. There's just a very simple handful of straightforward chords, and I've got a capo here on the 5th fret. So we're playing as if we're in C, although the concert key is actually F, and there isn't an acoustic guitar part on the original. There's an electric guitar that's this kind of ethereal ambient texture swathed in reverb, and we might try and capture some of that when we look at some finger picking, but for now let's just outline the basic chords. The intro is 4 bars long and it repeats, so 8 bars altogether, and the same 4 chords are then used in the verse, and it's like this. We get C, and then an A minor, now E minor. I'm using my 2nd and 3rd fingers, and I'm going to walk the 3rd finger down to the 3rd fret of the bottom string to play G6, just like a standard G chord but with the open top string. And that top string being open, that's common to all of those chords, and when we look at some finger picking we'll find a way maybe to really bring that out. It's kind of a constant thread almost through the entire song. So look, we've got 4 bars there that repeat, and then the verse is exactly the same. You leapt from crumbling bridges, watching cityscapes turn to dust, filming helicopters crashing in the ocean from way above. And we'll look at some picking in a while, but for now, the drum part on the original has a ride cymbal constantly going in half beats, eighths, or quavers if you like. So we could strum those 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But there's also a bass drum going boom, 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 boom. So typically there are 2 hits in the bar on the bass drum. On the first beat, boom, boom, and the second one is on 2 and, so half a beat before the 3rd beat. We can emulate that with our 8ths strumming by accenting the 2nd up strum, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You leapt from crumbling bridges, watching cityscapes turn to dust, filming helicopters crashing in the ocean from way above. So that works pretty well. Got the music, and now we're into the chorus, and we've got a new chord here, F major 7. The simplest way to play that would be 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and just play those top 4 strings. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. You can keep the 1st finger where it is and then move those 2 fingers down a string for the C chord and back again. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. This time we go to A minor, F major 7 again. You've been locked in here forever. Now move them down to the bottom 2 strings, take the 1st finger away, that's G6, and you just can't say goodbye. And we land on C. A little detail here, in the 1st verse, at the end of the 1st chorus, the next thing that happens is the 2nd verse, so we get there with a G6. So the final bar of the chorus, when we hear the chorus for the first time, is G6. Subsequently, when we hear the chorus again, it's always 2 bars of C, so just watch out for that. But the whole of that, got the music in you, baby, tell me why. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. You've been locked in here forever, you just can't say goodbye. So G6 into the 2nd verse. Kisses on the foreheads of the lovers wrapped in your arms, and so on. That F major 7 though, with the capo up here, we end up with that third finger right up on the 8th fret. That's the lowest note of the chord, 8th fret of the 4th string. That's pretty high. It would be nice to add something a little bit lower. You could add a note on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, so I'm just putting the little finger where the 3rd finger was. Now the 3rd finger's going onto the 3rd fret of the 5th string. That gives us a little bit more bottom end, but really you want this note here. Okay, a couple of ways of doing that. You could play an A minor shape with the 2nd and 3rd fingers, 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers, and move that 1st finger down to the bottom string 1st fret. That gives you quite a nice, that's a standard sort of jazz shape. But there's this, and I looked at this recently. I covered the Beck song Lost Cause. As we had it, 1st, 2nd and 3rd fingers where they were, but then wrap the thumb around. That might work. I was kind of a bit dubious of this when I was looking at the Beck song, but actually I've come round to thinking this is quite a handy way, especially with the Kappa one, because there's just not a lot of room for your hand there. So that would work, and that's probably what I'm going to do. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. You've been locked in here forever and you just can't say goodbye. Into the 2nd verse, and that is intro, verse and chorus done. So let's look at the bridge. Now the bridge is 16 bars of new material. The first 4 bars repeat, and it's 2 bars of D minor. Your lips, my lips, apocalypse. To C major 7, which is just a straight C chord, but with that 1st finger removed, an open 2nd string then, and that just repeats. So your lips, my lips, apocalypse. And again. Your lips, my lips, apocalypse. Now we go to F major 7. Go and sneak us through the river's flood is rising. To D minor again for a bar. Rising up on your knees. C major 7 and now A minor. Oh please. And we finish off with 2 bars of D minor and 2 bars of G6. Come on and haunt me. I know you want me. Come on and haunt me. And all that takes us into sharing all the secrets with each. The 3rd verse. So let's just have the whole of the bridge one time. 2, 3, 4. Your lips, my lips, apocalypse. And again. Your lips, my lips, apocalypse. F major 7. Go and sneak us through the river's flood is rising up on your knees. Oh please, come on and haunt me. I know you want me. Come on and haunt me. As I say, that leads us into the 3rd verse and the 3rd chorus. And what happens now is we reach the outro effectively. After the 3rd chorus, 2 bars of C to finish that. We get a new section, F major 7 for a bar and C for a bar. This is instrumental, F major 7 for a bar and C, and now we get 4 bars exactly like the last 4 bars of the chorus. You've been locked in here forever and you just can't say goodbye. And there's a kind of general pause that actually equates to 2 bars before everything comes back in. And now I'm calling this the outro. We've got our familiar 4-bar pattern, C, A minor, E minor, G6 that we saw in the intro and the verse. We get that twice instrumental and then another 4 times with vocals over the top. I'll just sing the vocal part. When you're all alone, I will reach for you. When you're feeling low, I will be there too. Now it's another 8 bars instrumental. One more. G6, and we just finish on a big old chord of C. Okay, so that's it basically. But now let's have a little look at some picking that's really going to help bring this alive on the guitar. For the intro, I want to have something that emulates the kind of ambient, ethereal opening. On the electric guitar, you can hear this 3-note figure awash with reverb, and it's based on the top 3 strings of the shapes we're already playing for the intro: the C, the A minor, the E minor, and the G6. So my picking fingers are up on the top 3 strings, first finger on the 3rd string, second finger on the 2nd string, and the 3rd finger, of course, up on the top string. And I'm just going to play 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string in 8ths, 1 and 2, and then repeat 3 and 4. So at the moment I'm not playing full shapes in the left hand. It's enough for the C chord just to have a finger here on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Okay. For the A minor, I'd need to add a finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. But for E minor and G6, actually they both have the top 3 strings open. Can't hear any difference between those 2 chords yet, but here's the whole thing. Okay, so let's add some bass with the thumb, and now I want to reintroduce that rhythm we heard on the bass drum, that boom, 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 boom. That's on 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we couple that with this 3-note figure we've got, we're going to have this. Okay. And again. That captures something of the original guitar part plus the bass drum. It works quite nicely. You could, of course, keep that going. You could do that in the verse and the chorus pretty much. I want to do something else for the verse and chorus. Maybe in the outro where we come back to this with an instrumental section, it makes sense to revert to this. Up to you, you might be strumming at that point or doing something else, but that's kind of my idea of what to do there. But now let's look at another picking pattern that we can use for the verse, which I think is quite nice. For the verse and maybe the other sections, I've got this. And here's what's happening. The important thing to get is the thumb moving on the beat from the normal bass note, which for C and A minor is the 5th string, and for E minor and G6 is the 6th string, up to the 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down to the 6th string. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and when that's nice and smooth, then you can start adding the picking fingers on top of that. And here's what I'm doing. That first thumb note on the first beat is played with the 2nd string picked by the 2nd finger, followed up immediately by the 1st finger picking the 3rd string. Okay, that's the first beat. Thumb comes up to the 4th string and the 3rd finger picks the top string. We kind of accent that top string to create a gentle syncopation. The second half is a much more standard Travis picking idea. Thumb plays the 5th string, 2nd finger picks the 2nd string, thumb comes up to the 4th, and the 1st finger then picks the 3rd string. And you could do the whole thing just with this. Okay, but if we add the 1st and 2nd halves of the pattern together, that if you bring out that top string picked with the 3rd finger on 2 and, it creates syncopation, especially if you then hold back on the volume of that 2nd bass note. You leapt from crumbling bridges crashing in the ocean from way above. Got the music. Now, in the chorus, it kind of depends on which F major 7 you're playing. I'm assuming you're going to play this one, in which case it's going to be exactly the same. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. Locked in here forever and you just can't say goodbye. Okay. If you're only playing a 4-string shape for the F major 7, then maybe just move your fingers up and play the second half of the pattern, which is this. Okay, that makes sense, doesn't it? You're going to need to do that anyway for the D minor chord that comes in the bridge. Okay, because you haven't got 5 strings to play around with. You could come down to the 5th string, but... So that's what I reckon you'll do. And then revert to the standard pattern we've already seen for the C major 7. Your lips, my lips, apocalypse. Okay, so that's what I've got. As for when you play which, well, there's a couple of different choices, and as I say, you might well be strumming, but that really is everything I've got. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Let's just have a little playthrough of the whole thing. 1, 2, 3. The music in you, baby, tell me why. Got the music in you, baby, tell me why. You've been locked in here forever, you just can't say goodbye. Your lips, my lips, apocalypse. Apocalypse. Go and sneak us through the river's flood is rising up on your